From Silverbird Studios, it's Today on STV.
These agencies from 2010 to 2015, this at least a period of 5 years. Some of the findings include non-remittance and under-remittance of operating surpluses due to consolidated revenue fund, operating an approved budget, overstating of budget and spending above budgeted amount, also reporting of revenues, making payments without invoices, and absence of receipts, failure to retire cash, and so on and on. But what it captures is the very basics. I mean, even in your house, you run with a budget. I mean, you go to the market to buy food items and you have a list of what it is you want to buy, how much is expected to be for, and then just some level of accountability, even at the level of domestic, front. Let's take this to agencies of government. Haven't found all of this out. How did we get to this point?
Because there's no penalty for misdemeanor. It's very simple. And when people are saying they don't know what the new Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, is doing, I completely disagree with them. And I'm proud that she's a member of my profession that believes so much in accountability, in internal controls, in proper management of public finance. Now, when you are in charge of public finance, it gives you a high level of responsibility to be above board. But like I said in my opening, over time, people have become so used to breaking down the control structure. And when you break this control structure, then things like this begin to happen. Now, it takes somebody who understands what the book says, and who understands what the act says, and who understands what the system of governance, of internal controls and the system of accountability says, to go into those uncharted terrain. Now, before now, it's business as usual. Are you surprised why public servants are those? Civil servants are those that own posh buildings in Abuja and all over the place, own big hotels. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that agencies which hitherto, have their salary cut out, have their working budget cut out? Are you surprised that they are the ones that are sending their children in the best universities abroad? How did those money come about? There's no productivity, there's no production. It is now that the chicken has come home to roast. It is now that there is no more a luxury of money. So government begin to look at agencies. Now the TSA has done quite a bit of it, but now there are still agencies like talked about on the reporting of revenue. Who checks those things, and what is the office of the Auditor General doing all this while? Because the Auditor General is supposed to be the check, the government policeman to look at all those agencies. What were they doing? Now, each of the departments, each of the ministers and departments have internal audit units that is supposed to be a clearinghouse for some of these things. So there is high-level collusion, and then because somebody appoints somebody, and then the person that comes with the person appoints him. Let's take universities for example, and I'm so bitter about universities. Let's take universities for example. If you know the amount of money that goes through the university system, and every day you hear us shouting,
and some of them are mentioned in the agencies.
Yes, they are more guilty. Every day you hear us shouting, they're not following university, they're not following, but I tell you, go and investigate what the amount of money University of Lagos makes in a year through various courses and programs that is not reported by the government to the government, through research grants that they receive from foreign bodies and that is not reported to the government. Yet this money will disappear. Go and see the structures in University of Lagos. The day I went to that university, I was shocked to my marrows. But meanwhile, this is a school that charges that admits about 1,000 diploma students at an average of 400,000 naira each. This is a student that conducts post-UTME. This is a school that conducts post-UTME for nothing less than 300,000 students. And at the end of the day, they will admit 2,000 or 10 or 5,000 at most. So you see the rot in every area. Now go to NEMA, go to customs, everywhere, LPA, go everywhere, because there is no strong a system of internal controls. Even when they are there, they are broken, and nobody is made to pay the penalty, to be accountable. Nobody has made to face the music. How could a minor be able to take so much out of the pensions fund? Broken number of controls, and yet we have a Fiscal Responsibility Act, we have a due process office, we have all those things. They only sit on paper, they only talk on paper. nobody they don't love this country. Those who have gone, they don't love this country. Everybody loves their pocket. And I pity this president. Sincerely, I sympathize with this president, and that's why people are shouting.
Just this president, this road has been going on
for yes, of course, others condoned it. I mean, when I say 2010, for me, that would be like being vindictive of the loan. This has been the norm ever since, because it is just now we're getting to about 5 trillion naira budget. Other than that, we're just talking. It wasn't the Ambassador government that took us to the trillion mark. We've just been having a budget of billion. Meanwhile, Nigerian budget, if all the money is truthfully and legally collected and bring to the central purse and to be dispersed as needs arises, I tell you, we can have a budget of over 10 trillion. Because the resources are being generated every day. Even with these tears, even as at now, with no matter even with the no-nonsense stance of the president, people that are entrenched in this malady are still carrying on. Now, the scale might have reduced, but they seem, and that's why I listen sympathize with the president, because the man will be having real headache. Because I think he has better interest for the country, and I want things to work very well for the betterment of everybody. Because right now, what's happening is that if people take take these funds, put them in their own pocket, become rich overnight, oppress you with the money, and then you are complaining. You and I cannot have the basics that we want to have. 400 billion. You know what that could do to the national treasury? When states get their share, the federal government gets their share, local government get their share, and if you just use, you know how it can transform the economy. But this is what individuals put in their pocket, build useless filling stations that they don't need, buy houses that they don't live inside, send some abroad, buy dollars and send abroad, and the system can be according to rot. All right. I think it's rather sad and unfortunate.
All right. Unfortunately, you're not our only guest. We do have a guest fortunately or unfortunately, we do have a guest in Abuja. George Ubo is on standby. He's a financial expert. You've been listening to this side of the conversation about 450 billion naira. Now, the finance minister has decided to take some steps concerning the monies. Now, she says an audit will be carried out in the agencies in compliance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007. There's also going to be a demand notice that will be issued to the affected agencies, which they must comply with within 7 days about their payment plan, and also a recovery committee headed by the Accountant General of the Federation. Now, do you think that these steps are adequate, considering the fact that we've always had that FRA, the fact that it wasn't even complied to? Do you think we need these extra measures, or should we just be strict to what is already on ground?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please.
Okay. I'm George Ubo. I'm a security expert and anti-corruption crusader. Yes, I do commend what the Minister of, not a financial expert, please. I do commend what the Minister of Finance has done. But if you have been keeping up with my own fight, since 2013, I came out with evidence that EFCC failed to remit 1.993 trillion naira to the federal government. Now, not that I didn't have what the minister has brought out, but I decided to take on the EFCC because, just like in the Bible, when Jesus Christ went to the synagogue and saw the gamblers and money changers, he was really enraged, because that is where you're supposed to have sanctity. So EFCC, being the organization saddled with the responsibility to fight corruption, is in itself very rotten. And of course, I took them to the Senate last year. Of course, Labode didn't appear. And yesterday, Farida Waziri came out that Nuhu Ribado, her predecessor, didn't account for billions he recovered that were not documented. So the chicken has come home to roost. I have been vindicated. I find it problematic that the same EFCC that has failed to remit 1.993 trillion naira is the same agency we are going to send about the findings from the Ministry of Finance to. I agree with your guest there totally. The entire system is rotten, and I feel very sorry for this president, really, because I've been saying it, that he means well, but when you have a system that is devoid of,
Go ahead, Mr. Ubo.
I came out with even $3.1 billion of fraudulent judgment, where certain ministries didn't even defend the lawsuit against the federal government. That is another fraud that goes on. So it goes on and on. I mean, in the case of EFCC, how did I arrive at that conclusion? I have 3 boxes of documents that showing that from inception to 2013, EFCC recovered 2.051 trillion, out of which 6.7 billion was sent, remitted to the federal government, the consolidated revenue, fund, and that I got that from a letter the then Accountant General wrote the House Committee on Drugs, Narcotics, and Financial Crimes. Now, when an Accountant General writes such letter that EFCC maintains one account, that from inception to date, 2013, that EFCC only remitted 6.7 billion. These are other agencies that are supposed to check what EFCC is doing. Of course, the Auditor General is supposed to. So you have this collusion going on, because in my book, if you fail to act, you have equally committed. So that is exactly what is going on. And of course, you know that I was engaged by the federal government. Within 27 days, I traced 324 billion naira. Out of that amount, $648 million, £23.5 million pounds, and 75.5 billion naira in 9 banks. And when I came out back in February, March, talking about the fact that most of the funds I traced were TSA funds, I wrote an open letter to the president accusing the same Minister of Finance, Accountant General, Attorney General, CBN Governor, of not, enforcing what I call cardinal directive by the president that all MDA funds should be moved to Treasury single account.
All right,
because at this point, as at that point, the Accountant General had come out to say that the banks have complied with TSA, which I knew was a lie.
All right.
Now, months later, the CBN governor came out to say that I think 8 banks were owing over $2 billion TSA funds, which I had already said. So we all need to come clean and make the work of the president easier, for him. Okay. And it really, I'm not doing this for any pecuniary reason, because even at the time I took on the EFCC, I had, if you go to all the EFCC premises in Abuja, you see my site, my name, PAS. I'm the MD of PAS. I had a business relationship with them, which I had to sever, because at that point, I had even written the president to release about 1.4 billion naira to my company. I abandoned that. It got to the point, what I'm privy to in this country is really sickening. I'm sick and tired of seeing this gross financial misconduct, misappropriation, whatever term you want to use. And I'm glad the chicken is coming home to roost. For Farida Waziri and Ribadi to be accusing each other, that vindicates me. Because when I took EFCC to the Senate, some people thought, how can
all right, Mr. Ubo, one
keep
moment.
1.99
Just give us a moment to forge ahead with this conversation. Okay, Mr. Ubo. Now, if you describe this, yes, can you hear me? If you describe this as a case of collusion, because we're asking how it got to this point, that was the premise on which we started with Mr. Wilcox with us here in Lagos, is to look at even the statutory laws that should not have allowed this happen in the first place. But since you mentioned and used the word collusion, how do we begin to address this? Because as we speak at this week now, from what we're hearing being reported, the EFCC is supposed to be getting to this matter. by way of investigating it. Now, you have also talked about how that you indicted the EFCC. How do we forge ahead with such issues?
Well, the reason why I kind of applauded TSA is because, to make sure people don't steal money, you have to ensure that they don't get access to the money. I hope you realize that in the U.S., all the federal government agencies don't see money. Everything goes to the Treasury account. So, I mean, it's just so tempting because even at the EFCC, you have the past and present administration, I can say this because I know Margot was part of it, always involving themselves in financial shenanigans, releasing assets to their relatives, releasing assets to the chairman's office. I have all these documents. So, but actually the underlying act does not permit EFCC to keep these funds. I have a letter from the former Accountant General, who is now the Governor of Gombe State, directing EFCC on what to do precisely with the recoveries. That the recoveries should be kept in a non-checking account to be moved on a monthly basis to the consolidated revenue fund. I mean, these are all specifics. So when you have these agencies, they have access to all these funds. This is not how it's done, abroad. So we need to make sure that we curtail these powers because the temptation is really there. I mean, that is the only thing I can say right now. Of course, you have to make sure that the institutions are strong and all that. But I don't think they should have access to these funds. That, to me, is very, very basic.
All right. Salvo.
Let me go back to the question I asked before. Now, knowing that there's a rot in the system, and certain measures have to be taken to restore normalcy or put normalcy in the system, the minister talked about the fact that an audit would be carried out on the agencies in compliance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. She also talked about a demand notice in which the agencies will have to pay up in 1 week or submit a plan where in 1 week where they will say how they're going to pay, and also a recovery committee headed by the Accountant General of the Federation that will be set to recover the money from agencies. Now, are these steps adequate? Because we've had laws lacking in them which have guided the process in the past, which people didn't adhere to. That's why we're in the rut that we are in now. Do you think that these steps are adequate at this point?
Yeah, when you look at the exigent circumstance with which we are faced, I think it's okay. I don't think it's